Brightest blessings. I just got a package in the mail. It is from Crow Tarot. It should be a couple of her new decks, and I just recently pre-ordered her next Lenormand, but that hasn't gone into production yet. So this will be my first unboxing. Let's see what we have. Okay. Unfinished business. Tales for tomorrow. Okay. Very good looking decks. I don't know much about the Lenormand, but at this point, pretty much if the Crow Tarot creator is making a deck, I'm picking it up. Tales for Tomorrow, Petite Lenormand, first edition guidebook. Oh wow, they're really small. So this is kind of handy. They're very nice looking cards. Can do a quick flip through. Ooh, I like the side. This is the first time I've really looked through a Lenormand deck before. You can see a lot of similarities to the tarot deck. It's nice. Okay, let's shuffle this. I'll just do a quick getting to know you rather than a deck interview, since I really don't understand how Lenormands work. Okay, so I'll flip over a card and see what is the personality of the deck and what are relationships going to be like. Clover. Well, a clover is generally kind of a lucky plant, so let's look it up. It's number 2, so that's pretty good. 6 of diamonds. Luck, good fortune, serendipity, optimism, or small blessings. So that's a pretty fortuitous card to get for a new relationship. Okay. Try to split this up again. It's again a nice guidebook. Okay. Now this one looks nice. Unfinished Business, a ghostly tarot. Nice book, first edition. Oh, pretty good size. The lives in this book are fictional, and any similarities to those living or deceased are purely coincidental. Okay. Ooh, lovely backs. Thank you for supporting the first printing of Unfinished Business. Okay. Nope, I thought there were 2. Okay. So here's the Fool, the Magician, They have a satiny type of finish, which is kind of nice since they don't slide. Okay. They seem to stick though a little bit. Ooh, I like that Ace of Cups. Ooh. Ooh, lovely. That's neat. Hmm. Valdis. We evidently have an extra card. Well, let's look at the book and see what Valdis is. My problem is I'm not exactly sure where to look for it. The end. There's Valdis at the very end. It was an unseasonably hot evening in the summer of 1992 when I first met Valdis Gaumont, a frail, well-dressed older woman. She seemed a little tipsy and stepped outside for fresh air. They really take over your whole body when they move through, she said, steadying her shaky, bony hands on the handrail of the brownstone. She reached into her small velvet purse and pulled out a card which read, Valdis Gaumont, medium. Private sessions to converse with the departed. I learned that Valdis had just finished her third seance that week, where Barbara West, an opulent socialite from the roaring 20s, who always stole the show even from the beyond, appeared. Valdis could communicate with just about anyone who crossed. However, she traveled with a regular ensemble of nomadic spirits who were, as she called them, the life of the party. I couldn't resist my curiosity and questioned how she managed the cacophony of the spirit world. She chuckled, the sound echoing eerily in the stillness. Oh, they love to play games. From her purse she drew a weathered deck of cards. They queue up, she whispered, her lips curving into an enigmatic smile as she displayed the cards like a bouquet of possibilities. When a soul burns with a message, their card beckons me. Her fingers halted on a card depicting a bride in pure white. The transformation was instantaneous. Her eyes whitened, and a spectral grin appeared. The voice that followed was not hers, but carried an ethereal promise. Prepare yourself, a journey of marvels awaits you. Moments like these, serendipitous encounters, infused the city with an unmatched vitality. Indeed, Valdis hit the mark because I stumbled upon her again 2 weeks later, feeding ducks in the public gardens, and then again a week later, eating lunch at the Middle East Cafe in Central Square. Over the course of a year, we became friends who never penciled in plans, yet the universe conspired to bring us together time and again, making every encounter feel as if it was destined. My last encounter with Valdis was on a bitterly cold winter day amidst a fierce nor'easter that had swept into the city. Snow-laden gusts and slippery streets challenged every step, but as they say, life marches on. I spotted her frail, tremulous hands lifting a cup through the foggy window of a Mass Avenue coffee shop. Just as my foot nearly skidded on a patch of ice, she beckoned me inside. The warmth was a welcome reprieve, especially as my toes began losing sensation. Valdis had been en route to a doctor's appointment, but the precarious conditions convinced her to take solace with a steaming drink. Unlike our usual heart-to-heart exchanges that spanned myriad topics, this conversation felt intentional and more guided by her. Valdis reached into her purse and retrieved a deck. The deck she showed me the first night we met. There's something important I must share. My mind raced with suspicion. Was my friend about to admit to being a charlatan, exploiting those yearning to connect with lost loved ones? Such deceptions weren't unheard of in Boston. Just ask anyone familiar with the infamous Sister Mary Rolex, who solicited donations outside Filene's department store. But before my doubts could shape into words, she slid the deck towards me. Dipping into her bag once more, she produced a book. She gracefully rose and excused herself to use the restroom. As the minutes ticked by, I debated whether to pursue the intriguing box of cards or the book inside it. Did she expect me to wait? I was keenly aware of the significance these cards held for her, and didn't want to wish to appear impolite. Choosing discretion, I set aside the temptation and picked up a copy of the South End News instead. As I neared the paper's end, Valdis's absence grew pronounced. Concerned for the security of her belongings, I tucked the deck and book into my bag and ventured down the narrow corridor toward the restroom. The store the door stood ajar, but Valdis was nowhere in sight. She'd given me the Irish goodbye. After thoroughly poring over her book, it took me months to muster the courage to open the box containing the cards. As I sifted through them, each card resonated deeply, as though I had been present during the very moments their narratives unfolded. They pulsed with an uncanny vivacity, but the final card was the most jarring. Among the 78 cards that mirrored the typical tarot structure, there stood one additional card and distinctive card titled Valdis. The illustration portrayed her nestled in a cafe, sipping coffee amidst a snowfall. Etched in the steam on the window were the words "Talk soon." General message from Valdis: pay attention to your intuition. What is it telling you right now? Okay, so basically that's kind of the story of these cards. Um, this was a deck assembled by Valdis with all these spirits portraying the 78 cards, and so that's kind of neat. And I think maybe that is the card that embodies the whole personality of the deck. I won't even need to draw one. So I hope you found this interesting. It's a really cool looking deck. It has a really hefty guidebook. There's stuff in the front that's very useful, more than usually there are. It has a section on preparing to use your deck, um, charging it and stuff. Cards that would fall into yes, no, and maybe categories if you just want to do readings like that. Um, Using a single card for advice. There's a spread that she created for her Grimalkin tarot, but she included it here so it could be used with this deck as well. Um, she has a list of questions from the major arcana, I guess questions that each card could be used to ask for you to do a little more thinking on when getting that card. So overall, it looks like a really great deck. Look forward to using it soon and reading a little bit more about it. If my understanding is, there's a little bit of a story about the image and ghostly figure on each card to give a backstory and a little bit deeper meaning to the traditional meaning of the card. So, well, it looks great. I hope you enjoyed looking at these new decks. And I generally, she kind of just orders enough decks for what is pre-ordered, but there might be some extra ones if you're interested in running over to her website, checking that out, the Crow Tarot. But you could keep an eye out. If there aren't extras, you could get on a waiting list probably for a second printing. But that's all I have for today. Hope you have a very lovely rest of the day, and blessed be.